Lucy, I'm home.
Hello and welcome back to Having a Ball podcast. I'm your host, Ziva.
And I'm your co-host, Erica.
And today we are going to be doing a spotlight on Hazel Pierce and Bennett Green, who were the stand-ins for Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, respectively. Mm-hmm. So, who do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with Hazel, only because I think we both are very well informed of her. She's a familiar face to, anybody who's watched I Love Lucy without really knowing who she is.
She shows up a lot, and we have mentioned her name a few times before. So
she was born April 10th, 1893 in LA, and also died in the LA area in 1984, March 1st. So she was 90 years old. Yeah, 90 years old. She was an actress, Hazel Pierce, and kind of like a, not very noted, unsung sort of Hollywood, players where there was a lot of those in those days, especially recurring characters that they used.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, but to be honest, even now thinking of, your favorite actor or actress, and then go ahead and name their stand-in or their stunt double.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It's so hard. I mean, You can't, and you see some of them, definitely now with like Instagram and everything where they'll post photos and you see them and you go, wow, yeah, they do look a lot alike. And they put in so much work, even, and they just don't get nearly
the recognition
much.
Or the paycheck.
Or the paycheck.
Yeah. So Hazel was very much she didn't look like Lucy, but they didn't use her for her looks. They used her because she had her same height, kind of the same build, and she was a personal friend of Lucille's. So she was always used for parts when Lucy was.
She lived in Lucy in the guest house, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
As we were looking for information, you and I discussed earlier that it was hard to find anything that wasn't Lucy related in her career. I think you found a little bit of it, but I, most of what I saw for Hazel was, Desilu Productions related or Lucy related.
Yes, it was. And even what I found happened, after the Lucy show. So it's almost like she didn't have a whole lot before, or it wasn't, I can't say she didn't, but it wasn't maybe recorded as well.
So she did appear at least on 18 on-camera appearances on I Love Lucy. I mean, we can go through all these episodes and really discuss where she appears.
We can talk about some of them. Yeah. I mean, we already talked about the very first one, which was, I think was it the first one with the Niagara Falls? Was that the very first one, or am I forgetting?
Where she was the contestant for
she was the winner on
the quiz show. She was Mrs. Peterson.
The quiz show.
Now, before I forget, prior to her being on I Love Lucy at all, her husband passed away before she was even on I Love Lucy, and she was like a part of a comedy dance team with her husband named Pierce and Harris, because that was her maiden name. So that's as much as I got, before even
beforehand. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's what she did. Maybe she was his wife, and and then they had this thing, and then once he passed away, she looked for something else to do. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know.
But we don't know. There's not much there. So she was Mrs. Peterson. So notable, appearances where she's head to toe in bandage because she went, because women will do anything for to win a prize. And then she was a party guest in the drafted episode. 1951.
We talked about that. I think both her and Bennett Green came in at the same time.
It's so interesting that they just randomly had these two people who were their stand-ins and, used just sprinkled throughout the episode.
But, I mean, it makes sense because they were there, all the time.
Already
right?
there.
So they're already there. They're already on set waiting to come in. So you might as well use them.
And a party guest for the 1952 Breaking the Lease, which was a fun episode.
I love that episode.
They just make a ruckus of trying to get out of the lease. And I don't remember her being a waitress in the Fred and Ethel fight, although I didn't look out for her either. I mean, now after this, we'll probably look.
Yeah, we're going to definitely look out. And if we miss any, go ahead and tell us, respectfully. Just
kindly.
Be like, kindly. Yeah, say, hey.
You missed this one.
How could you?
How could you? I've never listened to a 1-star review. By the way, please leave us some reviews if you happen to like or dislike or like something to change. Thank you.
Nice slide in there.
Thank you very much.
Hey. Okay.
And then, of course, I think her most notable one was the Ricky loses his voice episode where she's a flapper chorus girl. Where
she's like chewing gum, isn't she?
Yeah.
Is that a different, or is that Lucy? Whatever. But yes, that's probably one of her most noticeable ones.
And so she's
I'm an angel.
Yeah, I'm an angel, because unbeknownst to Ricky, Lucy just completely changed the entire routine. And it's like they're all much older now. The dancers used to be beyond shocked as to what just happened to his club. And so she's there. And then
she was a maternity nurse.
When they have the baby, Lucy goes to the hospital. She brings out the baby and a club member in Ricky has labor pains. So then of course she played Grace Munson, which was also played by another actress in the club election. One of my favorites, the club election. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till we get to that one. Because when she has to hand over the sweater just to get voted in. This
is one. Okay, so this is much later on, but I did not see her, so I'm gonna have to look out for her. But when Bill Holden gets a pie in the face, do you remember that episode?
Oh, she's right next in the next booth.
Yeah, that it's her and Bennett Green are both there, and I didn't notice them. And I think that that's something that's really cool. Is that like if we look. These are the 18
Easter eggs
caught. I bet that there are more. Like, I would not be surprised
that haven't been recorded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was there throughout the entire
6 seasons.
All 6 seasons. Yeah. I'm looking at all the years, and it's 51 all the way to the country club dance. And that's.
Yeah. But then she was also in I Love Lucy. Or yeah, that's what we were just talking about. She's also in the Lucy show as well.
Yes, and a couple of the movies. She was in Forever Darling and The Facts of Life with Bob Hope. So she was very much part of the Desilu production world, and she was on the Dick Van Dyke show as well.
And the Joey Bishop show, which I've never watched.
And have you watched that? I have not. No.
I feel like we should.
Yeah, these are all Desilu productions.
Have you watched the Untouchables?
I've seen a couple of episodes, yes, but
she was in 6 episodes of that. I haven't watched that either.
Okay. The Lucy Desi Comedy Hour, which of course would make sense.
And then both her and Bennett were in Angel. So that's just the name. It's a series.
Okay.
Apparently it wasn't super long, but I kind of want to look into that too, because they were both in it. So
yeah,
might as well take a look. See.
So there were a few, recurring, and I wouldn't call them guest stars, but like you said, stand-ins, stunt doubles, party fillers, audience fillers. And there's one named Gertrude Astor and Barbara Pepper, which were also friends of Lucille. That would randomly show up in episodes. So they would, kind of take turns being in the audience or being in the show. And also Bess Flowers, who's also known as the Queen of the Extras. She also made many appearances alongside Hazel Pierce.
I really love how they have them on repeatedly. I know we talked about that they were there, but I mean, that was just on the I Love Lucy show. And then
they continued
to bring her back for, a bunch of other things. So I think that's just a great.
Yeah, they kept her employed.
And I mean, she obviously must have been, I'm interested to see her in a role. Like
Yeah, like a speaking, acting
to
full on
see,
role.
yeah, like
and like
how she does in a full role.
She did live on in Lucille Ball's guest house. I was looking all over the place to kind of see what that relationship was like, but I couldn't find anything other than she lived on the property.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, a guest house, and then I went, but it's Lucille Ball's guest house. So it's probably bigger than my house.
Yeah, guest house.
The guest house is bigger than my house.
Yeah, it's subjective to who you're speaking about. That's funny.
She's our guest house. It's the shack back there.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the property. Meanwhile, you have to take like a golf cart to get there.
Yes, to get there.
Wait a minute,
it's a full mansion. Is this the guest house?
No, that's the other room. What? Oh my gosh.
Oh man, this is random, but I was listening to the Let's Talk to Lucy, the World Fair one, which we can talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
But she was talking about how the penthouse had 11 rooms. And I was like, that's a hotel with 11 rooms.
That's crazy.
Can you just imagine being affluent enough to be in a hotel with 11 rooms?
That reminds me of like when I listened to it's the biggest mansion, Aaron Spelling mansion in Hollywood, where the wife had a literal gift wrapping room. Just one of the many rooms, like 20, 25 rooms. One of them was for gift wrapping. Okay. And that was the entire purpose of the room. So I always wonder, big celebrities, how they have these huge, opulent homes with massive amounts of rooms that you'll probably never visit, and it's just
that's why you get. Yeah, that's why you have random rooms like my gift wrapping room. Was it one of the people we were talking about from the Lucy show, or Let's Talk to Lucy, said that when they were visiting, they like played a game where they tried to see all the rooms in the house.
I think it was Dean Martin. I think you're right.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't relate. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I know my rooms very well.
I can see them from here. And so Hazel also appeared in one of my other favorite ones, which is where she played. She won the raffle, and so she's the winner of the raffle where the ladies overseas aid, or they're trying to get enough money to go with the boys to Europe, and so they do the raffle where it's not exactly legal. But I love that whole scene. And she's not exactly legal. And so she's the winner of that. She's in Paris at last as a tourist. She's with Lucy meets Orson Welles as a customer. So she's just always raising her hand or walking by or doing something. But
yeah, she's in, when she's in the Lucy show, she's in that. Did we talk about this where she's in like the baking contest, which I just love. I love that episode where Lucy's in a baking contest, and I was just like, okay.
I think it's that picture I posted, right, for your birthday. That's from that episode.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know. So, but yeah, she's a lot of, if Lucy's in a band, she's in a band. Mm-hmm. If Lucy goes to night school, she goes to night school.
Yeah.
They were both on the volunteer fire brigade. Uh-huh. Which I loved. So yeah, she's all over the place, and I really like that.
And I'm assuming that, when they needed to perhaps measure, will this loving cup fit on Lucy, or will the, a coat or, some sort of costume, and Lucille was doing something else, they would probably use her for that. And that's, just because of the build. But yeah, she made quite a few appearances. Country Club Dance, Lucy meets Orson Welles, Ricky's European Booking, The Homecoming, Great Train Robbery, Ethel's Birthday, another favorite. She was a patron of the theater and a party guest on Sentimental Anniversary. Probably one of the ones that was, squished into the. Oh no, that's not where they squish into they go into the kitchen, I think, to wait for Ricky and Lucy to come in. But yeah, quite a few appearances by Hazel. You should look out for her. Post some photos of her
and let us know. We'll post some of the ones where you can see her. But if we miss any for sure. appearances, yes, for sure, let us know. And if anyone knows a lot about her, and knows what she did before the Lucy show, you know, we would be interested in knowing. I mean, we both looked a lot and we couldn't find anything.
Yeah, there wasn't
so
much.
You know, she had a life obviously before the show. So because do you know how old she was
when she passed? She was
simple
90.
math. No. When she started the show, so she had a life obviously.
Up until 58. Yes.
Oh, yeah, up until then. So okay. And I did you know, Keith
Thibodeau
wrote a book called Life After Lucy.
Yes.
And he wrote about her. He said, Hazel is a very nervous person and ditzy in the kind of Gracie Allen, Stan Laurel kind of way. Instead of what, she would say hello. Lucy recalls that Hazel would be walking down the hall carrying a big stack of papers, and Lucy would scream, "Hazel, get over here," really loud, causing Hazel to throw the papers in the air in surprise.
It's like a Lucy episode.
Yeah. I was like, she's probably does that on purpose.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. And a huge, you know, shout out and thank you to Paper Moon Loves Lucy, because we both discussed, we get a lot of our information there. And when it's something so obscure and missing information elsewhere, that's seriously your resource for all things.
It's where we go, because whoever this person was, they went through, I know, they went through and they found out all the small information from everywhere. So they're like our main source to go to. Like you said, definitely on these more obscure, you know, we were going to try to do a spotlight on just Hazel Pierce. And then
it wasn't enough to make an episode.
Even just the day we're recording, I texted you and I was like, let's do
so you have Desi Arnaz's stand-in.
Bennett Green, who was born October 13th, 1904. Like I said, he was primarily remembered as the stand-in. He was born in Jersey City, New Jersey. But he actually had a lot of, and so this might be another thing, and I forgot to mention it, that Bennett Green has a lot of credited appearances in movies.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe she does as well.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So like his first screen appearance was uncredited, and it was in The Raiders of Ghost City in 1944. And then, so that was his first appearance. I don't know if he did anything after that until he showed up on the Lucy show. His first appearance on that was in the audition. So, which is season 1, episode 6. We did that one.
Yes.
And he was in at least 22 episodes, but most likely more. So what? I can't remember what he was in the audition.
Oh, probably just in either the band or the audience or an extra walking around. But I just remember hearing his name, you know, when you when you used to watch it on television, and you would hear the at the end, the credits, I would always hear Bennett Green, you know, and I just never looked out for what his appearances are. But I'm assuming he had the same build and look, or, you know, stand in for Desi. Yeah,
he's actually a little bit smaller in like all aspects, actually. So I can post a photo, but there's one photo of them standing next to each other, and he's shorter. His shoulders aren't as broad. He's just a smaller man in general. But I mean, for a stand-in to approximate, right? You know, they could, and definitely once they use the same person, they know, okay, add this much to meet Desi's, size or whatever.
I wonder if. I don't know. We talked about this when we did the Desi profile about how he needed to use, kind of lifts for his shoes because he wasn't.
He wanted to use them.
Well, he wanted to. Yeah, he didn't have to. But
he was a little self-conscious.
Taller than Lucille. I mean, she was so tall. But and also the couch cushion was lifted a bit.
Mhm.
I wonder if they ever had the stand-in do the same, just to sort of match,
Maybe
physically what
same,
he looked
yeah.
like. I mean, I realized they weren't using the faces, as stunt doubles, but just for the physical part of it.
Well, I'll talk about a few of his where it was obvious. He was in Breaking the Lease again. Not again, but we talked about that with Hazel Pierce. They're actually right next to each other.
Is he the one who grabs her and says, "This is great. This is like a fun party"? Or something? Okay, he stands out quite a bit in there because she's like, "Who are these people?"
She's like, there's like a photo of her going, "Oh,
yeah. That stands out. Okay,
yeah. He's in Pregnant Women Are Unpredictable. He's a delivery man. He plays the orderly who are kind of, he doesn't tackle Ricky, but like kind of holds Ricky when Lucy goes to the hospital. You know what I'm talking about? Like when they all freak out about him being there. He's in so this one is actually, it's a speaking role, and I didn't know that it was him, but it makes total sense. He was the florist.
Yes.
Who played in The Black Eye.
Yes. He's the one who's saying, "Oh, Mr. Mertz," when he thinks, when he thinks that he's writing something for Lucy.
Oh, which I cannot wait to get that.
Darling,
it's so far away.
I love you. I love you. Eternally yours.
Eternally yours, Fred.
I mean, man.
We were talking about this a little bit. We were talking about how, between like our spotlights and our everything else
interviews, and they were never
our watching is, and I think that's good for you guys as listeners to kind of get a break from just, because you could just sit down and watch these shows if you want yourself. But I'm going season 2, episode 20. So in 1.5 years,
2023, we'll get to
talk about
the Black Eye. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the, the fun of our show, just that hopefully helps us stand out from others, because, it's not just the guide, to tell you what you're obviously watching. There's so much more to the show. There's so many fun nuggets that you can pick from the show, people that are so notable, and you probably pass right by because you don't pay attention to how often and how big a part they are of the show. So I really enjoy doing spotlights, and I think our interviews, and my goodness, there's just so much we could do with this show that episode by episode would be just kind of, sitting down like with a guide to watch it.
Right. Just sit there while you're watching it, and we'll sit in your living room with you guys. Hey,
we're telling you what you're watching.
Happening.
Thank you.
All right, go away.
Having a ball podcast. Thank you.
All right. He's in the Sentimental Anniversary. We talked about that. Hazel Pierce and him are the first to come in. This is the one where the people are outside and Ricky and Lucy are in the closet.
Okay, yeah, I mixed that up earlier where
they threw the bottle into the kitchen,
right,
to try to pretend they were.
The only thing that stands out for me from that episode is her dress. That dress that she wears in the closet where they're kind of, having a candlelight dinner for two.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. Oh my gosh. They were going to skip and just
moment.
pick random episodes.
Yeah, there we go. No. Okay, he was in The Matchmaker. He was the messenger. He was, again, we talked about how him and Hazel Pierce were both in the Hollywood at Last, which is season 4, episode 16. That's where William Holden gets the pie to the face. Right. Which just love it.
We'll probably be discussing that in 2024. So please stay tuned.
Yeah. 2020. If you guys like us, I mean, maybe they'll shoo us off the air before then. During the fashion show, he actually, so this is, I don't know if it's a blooper, but he's in 2 different places at once. So okay, he's in the front of the stairs, and then he's over by Ethel. So it's like he went he was one place and then had to run over
to the teleported over to the other side of the room.
So again, I mean, I could go through all of these, but I won't. He's a lot of like the busboy, the messenger, once we post
photos, you'll recognize both of them, because they do make quite a few appearances. And we'll find some other ones where they make recurring, like the Applegate and others that make random appearances that should have a spotlight.
Yep. He was in the Danny Thomas show with Lucy and Desi as the Ricardos, and Lucy Meets the Mustache. He's in that. Again, Angel. So this, I guess it's a show. It was 1961 when he was in Angel. It was a show filmed by Desilu Studios. And he acted opposite Doris Singleton, who was Carolyn Appleby. Yes. Yeah. It was a short-lived series, so I want to look a little bit more into that. But it was created by Jess Oppenheimer. If you guys are interested in knowing more about this show, let us know, and we might be able to do I say might because there might not be a whole lot of information. So who knows?
Yeah, it only ran for one season on CBS.
Did it?
Yeah. Okay. And it was, like you said, created by Jess Oppenheimer.
Can you find it? Can you find the...
I'm looking right at it. And you're right, Doris Singleton was in it. And it's it stars Annie Farg or Farge, because there's an accent over the E. So it's either Annie Farge or Farge as a title character. And it only ran for one season. And a lot of the producers and theme composers are all pretty much as familiar to the Desilu world. It's Elliot Daniel, Jess Oppenheimer, and Wilbur Hatch, who also were on I Love Lucy. So it was...
Maybe we can if we can find it to watch it, even just a few, we can talk about it a little bit, see how we like it. Definitely, since we can compare it a bit. I mean, I know it's not I Love Lucy, but there's a lot of people that did both, worked on both. It'd be kind of interesting. Okay, so he was in a single appearance on Desilu's Fair Exchange. He was in the Lucy Show. We talked about that. He was in the Lucy Ball Comedy Hour. Which, can you find that? So is that something you have to purchase? Because I haven't been able to find it on streaming services. Yeah,
I think I saw it on Hulu, because it's still I think it's on Hulu. I'm pretty sure there's DVDs you can purchase of that. And if I'm not mistaken, I was able to find, now this is going back maybe a year or two, full episodes on YouTube, which are rare to find, but I don't know if they're still in existence there now in 2021. But those are fun. Those are the hour-long episodes.
I actually don't know how many of those I've watched. I know I have not watched all of them.
Yeah, they're a little more obscure than the I Love Lucy
defined.
Ones. Yeah.
Okay, so he was in, like we said, I Love Lucy, the Lucy Show. Here's Lucy. I believe he didn't appear on Here's Lucy. He died on September 8th, 1982 at the age of 77. So the last, and that's what we have on him.
So Hazel Pierce and Bennett Green, two of the busiest people on the aside from two title characters.
Oh yeah.
For stand-ins and body doubles and things like that. That you may not even notice that it's Hazel's back or her hair or something where it's supposed to be Lucy. So that's always fun.
It is. And so that'll be something we can look out for a little bit more and see if we missed any. We have a few reviews and we're very grateful for those, but we would like to know, what you like, what you dislike, so we can do more of, what you like, maybe do less of what you dislike. That really depends on if we can change it or.
Yeah. It's the only way that we can grow to
be better,
to appeal to you guys listening. It really is just to have some feedback, whether it's on the Apple podcast reviews. I don't think Spotify allows reviews. I know Audible does. And I don't think iHeartRadio does, but we also have a YouTube channel where we upload the episodes, Having a Ball podcast on YouTube, and we've gotten a few there. So I think it's a little more active on YouTube, but either of them would be great just to kind of get a feedback, or even on our Instagram to know how everybody feels about the show, because I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, we're having fun, and I think that's what our main goal really was. You know, we love that we're getting a fan group and a fan base, and that you guys are enjoying listening to us. But you know, I'd sit down and talk with Erica any day anyways.
About Lucille, yeah. That's true.
Just a weekly phone call or something if you guys hated us that much.
We're like, oh, this is fun. You and me being recorded. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So anything else? You know, our email is havingaballpod@gmail.com. We are on all the streaming services, and Having a Ball Pod on Instagram, and our Facebook page too, just so you guys can join us, because we'll pretty much promote on all those places.
Erica likes to say you can find us everywhere.
We exist.
We're everywhere. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.